My daughter-in-law thinks I'm jealous of her until the smart speaker in our living room repeats everything she said about me behind my back, in front of my son, in front of guests, with her own voice. And all I do is sit there, quiet, watching her panic. If you're listening to this, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and stay till the end, because the way the truth finally came out, it wasn't me, it wasn't her, it was the house itself that chose a side. I didn't raise my son for this. My name is Linda. I'm 63 years old. I live in a big, pretty house in the suburbs of Dallas, Texas, and I thought I had everything. I lost my husband 8 years ago. He left me a comfortable life, good investments, and this big house we'd always dreamed of growing old in. It wasn't a mansion, but it was the kind of home with those wide windows, a long driveway, and a backyard big enough for grandkids to run around in. And I had one son, my only child, my whole world, Ethan. I poured everything into that boy. Time, money, sacrifice, patience. I was there for school projects, late-night fevers, heartbreaks, college applications, car accidents, everything. So when he called me one Sunday afternoon and said, "Mom, I met someone. She's special," I smiled at the phone like he could see me. You know that feeling when your heart goes, "Okay, this is it. This is the next chapter. I'm going to be a mother-in-law. There'll be a wedding, maybe grandbabies." I was ready. I just wasn't ready for her. The first time I heard her name. Her name was Ava. Pretty name, right? He said it like a soft little prayer. She's smart, Mom. She works in marketing. She's super confident, funny. I think you'll really like her. Of course, I said. If you love her, I'll love her. And I meant it. I truly, honestly did. Because I'm not that kind of mother-in-law. I wasn't looking to compete with his wife or judge her clothes or her job or any of that. I wanted to share him, not own him. I spent the next week obsessing over the first dinner. I cleaned the baseboards. Why? I don't know. Nobody notices baseboards. I baked his favorite lasagna from scratch. I even asked my neighbor's 13-year-old daughter what young people were into now, so I wouldn't sound like a dinosaur putting my foot in my mouth. She told me not to say on the Facebook, so I made a mental note. The night they came over, I wore my best blouse, the one that made me feel put together, not too trying to look young, not too grandma at church. When they pulled up, my heart actually raced. I stood at the door, hands slightly shaking, waiting. Ethan came in first, taller than I remember, with that grown man confidence that still made me see the toddler who used to hold my hand crossing the street. And behind him. There she was. Long brown hair, perfectly done, designer purse, smooth, glowy skin. She smelled expensive, like something you'd spritz on at a fancy department store. "Mom, this is Ava." She stepped forward, smiled with all her teeth, and gave me a hug that was just a little too light to be genuine. Red flag number 1. People who stretch out the word "so" like that usually haven't heard anything good. But I smiled anyway. Please call me Linda. The house that sees everything. Now, this is important. My house is not just a house. It's connected. After my husband died, Ethan set up all these smart devices to make things easier for me. Voice-controlled lights, smart thermostats, cameras, smart locks, and, of course, the smart speakers in almost every room. Kitchen, living room, my bedroom, even the hallway. "You just tell it what you need, Mom," he said. "It's like you've got a little helper." I didn't use it much, to be honest. I still liked flipping light switches and writing grocery lists by hand. But the house listened all the time. I didn't know that yet. Not really. Not in the way that mattered. Not in the way that would one day save me.
Dinner went fine. You know that word? Fine. The polite kind of uncomfortable. We sat at the big dining table. I set out my good dishes, the ones I only used on holidays. I wanted her to feel important. Ava complimented the house. This is such a classic place, very traditional. Traditional, the word people use when they mean old. She picked at her food more than she ate it, but she smiled and said it was great. She asked questions, polite ones. Where do you work? What do you do with your time? Did you date anyone since your husband passed? All delivered with that sugar coating that's just slightly too slick. Then she dropped the first little sting. It's so sweet that Ethan takes care of you with all the tech stuff. My parents could never figure this out on their own either. Sweet, takes care of you, could never figure this out. She said it like I was already halfway to a nursing home. I laughed it off. Well, I'm not that helpless, but I'm grateful he knows how everything works. She smiled at Ethan like they shared a private joke. And something sank inside me. The tiniest bit. The first time she showed me who she really was. It didn't happen that night. Of course not. People like Ava, they're smart. They wait. They test you in little ways first. They see what you'll tolerate. About a month later, Ethan asked, Mom, what would you think if Ava and I moved in with you for a while, just until we buy our own place? We're looking at houses, but, the market is crazy. I hesitated. Not because I didn't want him. I would have shared a bed and let him have my room if he needed it. He's my son. But with her? In my house? Just for a few months? I asked. Yeah, he said. It'd help us save for a down payment. You know what I said? Of course you know. Of course, honey, this is your home. And that's when my house stopped being mine. When she thought I couldn't hear. They moved in on a Saturday. 2 big SUVs, expensive luggage, boxes organized by color-coded labels that told me exactly who I was dealing with. She is the kind of woman who labels chords, but not emotions. Her clothes took up nearly all the space in the shared closet in the guest bedroom they were using. Her skincare took over the bathroom counter. Just until we get a house, she reminded me with that high little laugh, you know how it is. Oh, I knew how it was. The first week, she was nice. Too nice. Linda, let me do the dishes. Linda, I brought you this candle. I thought it looked cute in the living room. Linda, you raised such a good man. She called me Linda every time. Not Mom, not even Mrs. Carter, just Linda. It bothered me more than I wanted to admit. One night, about 10 days in, I went to bed early. Headache. I took my book, turned off the main light, turned on my little reading lamp, and tried to relax. But the walls in this house, they're old. They carry sound. I could hear the faint murmur of their voices drifting down the hallway from the kitchen. At first, I wasn't listening, not on purpose, until I heard my name. Your mom. I frowned and put the book down, one finger holding the page. Ethan's voice. She's just trying to help. She's alone, Ava. I told you that. Ava's voice, sharper now, but still low. I know she's alone, Ethan, but that doesn't mean I signed up to live with a third roommate. I thought we were moving toward our life, not back into his childhood bedroom with his mommy. Mommy. I felt something cold between my ribs. Ethan sighed. It's temporary, and she's letting us save money. Can you just be nice? Ava huffed. I am being nice. You don't see the way she hovers when you're not here. The comments, the little digs. My mouth actually hung open. The comments? The digs? Me? She continued. Like today. Oh, are you sure you want to buy that? It's a little pricey. I'm sorry, I didn't realize she was my financial planner now. I remembered that. We were on the couch. She was online shopping for a $600 pair of boots. She'd held up her phone and asked, "What do you think of these?" I'd said, gently, "They're pretty, but they're a little pricey for boots, aren't they?" That was it. That was the dig. I swallowed and listened. "She's just old-fashioned," Ethan said. "She's not judging you." Ava scoffed. "You don't hear her tone. Seriously, Ethan, sometimes I feel like I'm being monitored or something." Monitored? I almost laughed. If anyone was monitored in that house, I didn't know it yet. The smart speaker learns our voices. A week later, Ethan came home with a new box. "We've got an upgrade," he said, grinning. "An upgrade to what?" I asked. He unboxed it on the kitchen island. A new smart speaker, the tall kind with a screen, camera, and better microphones. "We'll put this in the living room," he said. "This one hears better, responds faster, and it can show stuff too. And it can recognize different voices to personalize your experience." I hated that sentence. Recognize different voices. The idea of a device in my house learning my voice, it felt wrong. "You know I barely use it, honey," I said, trying to keep my voice light. "That's because the old one was kind of dumb. This one is crazy smart. You'll see." He set it up, connected to the house network, logged into his account. The screen lit up, glowing quietly on the console table under the big mirror in the living room. "Say hi, Mom," Ethan said. I sighed. "Hello." The device chirped. "Hi, Linda. I'm your new smart assistant." I nearly jumped. "How does it know my name?" I asked. "I programmed your profile," Ethan replied. "Relax, it's safe." Safe. I wish that word actually meant something in this story.
Death by 1,000 Little Lies. After that, things got weirder. Not with the device, with Ava. She seemed to know when Ethan wasn't looking. She'd be all sunshine with him, sweet voice, hand on his arm, laugh too loud at his jokes. But when we were alone, her smile turned plastic. One morning, I was in the kitchen making coffee when she walked in, hair in a perfect messy bun, leggings, and a cropped hoodie. "Morning," I said. She opened the fridge, took out an oat milk carton that probably cost more than my first car payment in the 80s, and said, "Linda, do you think you could not use the blue mug?" I blinked. "The blue mug?" "Yeah, that one," she pointed. "It's kind of my mug. I've been posting morning coffee stories with it, and my followers notice stuff like that. It's kind of my thing." It took me a second. "Your mug?" "Yeah," she said, already scrolling her phone. "It's like part of my morning aesthetic. I just prefer if it's, consistent." I looked at the mug. It was one I'd had for 5 years. My husband bought it on a business trip. But now it was part of her aesthetic. So I quietly put it back and took another one. "No problem," I said. Another little slice. Another quiet wound. "You're overreacting, Mom." It got harder to ignore. The comments, the eye rolls, the way she sighed when I entered a room. One afternoon, I walked past their bedroom and the door was slightly open. I heard her voice, whining that soft, sharp, grating whine. "Ethan, I'm serious. I feel like your mom just doesn't like me." My chest tightened. It's the worst thing they can say about you as a mother-in-law, that you don't like her, even if it's true, and especially if it's not. Ethan sighed. "She likes you. She's just old school. She doesn't always know how she comes across." Ava sniffed. "She questions everything I do. What I buy, what I wear, how I talk, what time we get home. I feel like I'm being judged all the time." Judged? I didn't control their time. I just asked if they'd be home for dinner so I'd know how many plates to set. She kept going. "Like yesterday. 'Oh, another package? You must really love shopping.' She said it with that tone. You know what I mean." I remembered that too. I'd said it with a smile, because 3 packages had arrived that day from different brands. Ethan was quiet for a moment. Then he said the words that started the crack between us. "I'll talk to her." Later that night, he came into my room.
He closed the door. That's how I knew it wasn't good. "Mom," he began, "can we talk?" I smiled. Always. He sat on the edge of my bed, hands clasped. "Ava feels like you don't like her." The words hit my skin like a slap. "What? That's not true." I tried to laugh. It came out shaky. "I've been nothing but nice to her." "I'm not saying you haven't, but sometimes your comments come off judgmental." "Like what?" I asked. He listed them off. The boots, the packages, the blue mug comment, which she'd twisted into a story about how I'd been passive-aggressive. Each one more ridiculous than the last. "Ethan," I said slowly, carefully, "you know me. You know my heart. You really believe I mean those things as attacks?" He sighed, rubbing his forehead. "I don't know what to believe. All I know is that she's upset. And I love her, Mom. I need you two to get along." I could have said it then. I could have told him about the things I heard when she thought I wasn't around. But I didn't. Because I didn't want to be that mother, the jealous, possessive one, talking bad about his wife. So I swallowed my pride and said, "I'm sorry if she feels that way. I'll be more careful." It was the first apology I gave for something I didn't do. It would not be the last. When the house started talking back. About a month into their stay, strange things started happening with the smart speaker. It would light up randomly when no one had said the wake word. I'd be sitting on the couch reading, and suddenly the screen would glow, the little bar pulsing as though listening. Once, late at night, I walked through the dark living room to get a glass of water, and the device said softly, "I didn't quite catch that. Could you repeat it?" I froze. "I didn't say anything," I whispered, more to myself than to it. The speaker's light faded. I told Ethan the next morning. "It keeps turning on myself," I said. "It's weird." He waved it off. "They do that sometimes. Background noise, the TV, something on your phone. It's not a big deal." He recalibrated it, told it to recognize our voices again, adjusted the microphone sensitivity. "There," he said, "all good." But it wasn't. It was just getting started. The party where it all began to boil. Because we're the house with space, we host things, always have. Baby showers, Christmas parties, football nights. This time, it was a small gathering, just a few couples they were friends with, and my neighbors. I cooked all day. Buffalo chicken sliders, spinach dip, vegetable trays, cookies. I told myself I loved it, hosting, serving, being useful. Ava floated around in a cute little dress, glass of wine in hand, laughing loudly, telling stories. When guests arrived, I heard her say, "This is technically Ethan's house, but we're staying with his mom while we look for our forever home." Technically. I poured drinks and smiled and pretended the word didn't sting. At one point, she walked into the kitchen with her friend, Carly, not noticing I was at the sink with my back turned. The sink was running. They must have thought I couldn't hear. Carly whispered, "Wow, it's so nice your boyfriend's mom lets you guys stay here. This place is huge." Ava scoffed softly. "Yeah, well, trust me, it comes with a price." Carly laughed. "What, she's a dragon or something?" Ava replied, with that crisp, smug little tone I'd grown to hate. "She's just controlling, passive-aggressive. She acts all sweet, but she comments on everything. You're buying that? You're going there? You're eating that? Like, sorry, I didn't realize I was auditioning to be her real mate." Carly giggled. Classic MIL behavior. Ava's voice lowered. "Honestly, sometimes I think she's jealous. Of me. Of how close Ethan and I are. It's like she can't stand not being the number one woman in his life anymore." My fingers clenched around the sponge. Jealous. That word tasted like poison. I wanted to march in there and say, "You have no idea what I've sacrificed for that man you're dating." But I didn't. I rinsed the dish. I turned off the water. I breathed. Behind me, the smart speaker on the living room console lit up. Just for a second. Then it went dark again. The first ask for space. That night, after everyone left and the dishwasher hummed, Ethan came into the kitchen. "You okay, Mom?" I smiled. "I'm fine, just tired." He hesitated.
Ava feels like you were watching her tonight. I turned, eyebrows shooting up. Watching her? I was serving her guests. I know, but she feels like everything she does you're judging. The food she eats, the wine she drinks, what she talks about. I laughed in disbelief. What did I do? What did I say tonight? He looked uncomfortable. It's not any one thing. It's just a vibe. So now I was guilty of vibes? Ethan, I said quietly, I need you to answer me honestly. Do you really think I'm trying to sabotage your relationship? He looked at me, really looked at me. And for a second, I saw my little boy again, torn between two parents and a divorce that never happened. Except this time, the divorce was between his past and his future. I think you both care about me, he said finally. And maybe that's clashing. I just need you to be patient with her. She's not used to living with someone's mom. Patient? As if I hadn't rearranged my entire life for them. I have been patient, I said softly. He sighed. Maybe after we get our own place, things will be easier. A little space would probably help everybody. And there it was, the first little seed. Your presence is the problem, Mom. I felt my throat tighten. I'm sorry I'm causing you stress, I said. He stepped closer, kissed my forehead. You're not. I love you. Just, please, try to make things easier. I nodded. But inside, something in me cracked.
When I finally broke, the breaking point wasn't loud. It wasn't a shouting match. It wasn't plates shattering. It was this. I walked into the kitchen one afternoon to find Ava on FaceTime with her mother. The phone was propped on the counter. Her mom's face filled the screen, framed by a kitchen I recognized from previous accidental glimpses. Tidy, modern, white cabinets. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I was just grabbing a glass from the cabinet. Ava didn't lower her voice. She didn't even pause. I'm telling you, Mom, she's insane, like full-on control freak. She's always around, always listening. I can't even make a sandwich without feeling judged. Her mother frowned on the screen. She can't be that bad. Ava nodded vigorously. You don't live with her. Today, she asked if we were coming home for dinner. You know what that really means? I want to keep tabs on you. Tell me where you are at all times. I closed the cabinet very gently. My hands were shaking. I turned to leave, but her mother spotted me over Ava's shoulder. Is that her? She asked. Ava spun around, smiles suddenly bright and fake. Linda, hey, just talking to my mom. She angled the phone so I was on camera. Hi, Linda, her mother said, carefully. I forced a polite smile. Hello, nice to see you again. Linda has been so helpful, Ava said, the word helpful dripping with sarcasm. I'm sure her mother heard. I'll let you two chat, I murmured. I don't want to intrude. I walked out before I did something I'd regret. I went to my room, closed the door. And for the first time since my husband died, I cried like a child. Hoarse, ugly sobs into my pillow. Not because of what she said, but because my son was letting her say it. He was letting her make me the villain in a story where all I'd done was open my home. I cried until my head hurt, until I had to take off my glasses and press my palms into my eyes. When I finally calmed down, I heard a muffled sound from down the hall. The living room. The faint mechanical chirp of the smart speaker waking up. I had no idea that somewhere, in its little digital brain, it was recording, storing, remembering. The night the tables turned. About 2 weeks later, I got my answer, accidentally. It was a Thursday, around 7 p.m. Ethan was working late. Ava was home, scrolling her phone on the couch, watching some reality show where people screamed at each other for fame. I was in the kitchen making myself tea. The house was quiet, except for the TV. And then her phone buzzed, loud. Ugh, she muttered, not her again. I glanced over and saw my name on the screen. Not my caller ID, but her contact name for a group chat I wasn't part of. It said, Prison Warden, MIL. My stomach dropped. She picked up the phone, rolled her eyes, and started typing fast. Then she hit the video call button.
Her friend's face popped up, Carly again. "Girl, I swear this house is gonna make me lose my mind," Ava said, without even saying hello. "What happened now?" Carly asked. Ava glanced over her shoulder to confirm I wasn't in the room. I stayed in the kitchen, out of sight, frozen. "The warden is in rare form today," Ava said. "She left a note on the fridge that said, 'Please remember to rinse your dishes,' like I'm a child. I wanted to write back, 'Please remember this isn't your house forever.'" Carly laughed. "You should." Ava kept going, voice dripping with contempt. "She walks around like she owns the place." "She does. I do," I thought. "Her decor is stuck in 1998. Those stupid family photos everywhere, the curtains, the fake plants. If I have to see one more live, laugh, love sign, I might burn this place down. We don't even have a live, laugh, love sign." "And she's always listening," Ava added, "like this creepy little ghost. I swear she's probably hiding behind the smart speaker half the time." Carly laughed. "Smart speakers? Those things are recording you, girl." Ava snorted. "Good. Let them hear what I really think. Maybe they'll tell her." In the living room, the smart speaker lit up. A bright blue bar along the bottom of the screen. It pulsed. Listening. Recording. I stared at it. Something in my brain connected. The thing hears us. It records us. It stores everything we say. And I felt it. That tiny, dangerous spark. I didn't say anything that night, not yet, but a plan began to form in the back of my mind. Not revenge, not yet, just curiosity. When curiosity turns into evidence. The next morning, after Ethan went to work and Ava went out for brunch, content with a friend, I stood in front of the smart speaker. Its screen showed the weather, 72 degrees, sunny. "Hey," I said, using the wake word. The light pulsed. "How can I help you?" I swallowed. "Do you record conversations?" The screen shifted. "I store voice recordings to improve your experience. You can review your voice history in your account settings." My heart skipped. "Play yesterday afternoon." The device responded. "To access detailed voice history, please log in from your companion app or web browser." I sighed. Of course. Ethan had set up all the accounts, the logins, the passwords. Even if I wanted to access the recordings, I didn't know how. But the seed was planted. Those words, voice history, recordings. The house had heard her. The house remembered. Now, all I needed was a way to make it talk. The blow-up that set everything in motion. I didn't get long to think. That evening, everything exploded. Ethan came home, threw his keys on the counter harder than usual. "Rough day?" I asked gently. He didn't answer. Ava followed him in, face tight. They'd clearly been arguing in the car. I gave them space, retreating to the dining table with my crossword. 20 minutes later, Ethan called out, "Mom, can you come in here?" His voice had that tone, the one that makes your stomach drop. I walked into the living room. Ava sat on the couch, arms folded, eyes red like she'd been crying. Ethan stood next to the TV, hands in his pockets, jaw clenched. "What's going on?" I asked. Ethan took a breath. "Ava told me something today, and I need to hear your side." "My side? My side of what?" Ava spoke up, voice trembling, in that performative, practiced way. "Linda, I really tried. I didn't want it to come to this. I've been trying to keep the peace, but I can't keep letting you talk about me like this." I stared. "Talk about you like what?" She sniffed. "Behind my back, to your friends, to the neighbors, telling people I'm a gold digger, that I'm using Ethan, that I'm shallow and stupid." My mouth fell open. "I never said that," I breathed. "You did," she insisted. "My friend Carly heard you at the last party. You were in the kitchen, talking to your neighbor, and you said, 'She's spending his money like there's no tomorrow. I don't know how long this will last.'" I replayed the night in my mind. The kitchen, my neighbor, Susan. I remembered saying, in a low voice, "I hope he doesn't overextend himself. They're spending a lot lately." Concern, not insult. That's not what I said, I replied. I was worried about both of you, about your finances, that's all. Ava shook her head. You're twisting it. You always twist it. Ethan stepped in. Mom, this isn't the first thing. It's a pattern. She feels like you undermine her. You make comments. You act like you know better. It's making her feel unsafe in her own home. Her own home. Something snapped inside me. Her own home, I repeated quietly. This is my house, Ethan. Your father worked his whole life to give us this place. I let you both live here for free. I cook, I clean, I give you space. Oh, you give us space? Ava scoffed. You knock once and then walk right in. You accidentally overhear everything. You comment on my clothes, my food, my spending. Because you ask my opinion, I snapped. You hold up your phone and say, what do you think of this? You ask me, are you making dinner tonight? And then you take my answers and twist them into attacks. The room buzzed with tension. Ethan raised his voice. Enough, both of you. We fell silent. He looked at me, eyes hard. I love you, Mom, but I love her too. And right now, it feels like you're not even trying to meet her halfway. My chest hurt. Not trying, I whispered. Ethan, I've bent over backwards. Then why does she feel harassed? He shot back. Why are my friends telling me you said things about her? Why does she feel like she can't breathe in this house? Ava sniffed, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. I just want us to have our own life, Ethan. I want to feel respected. I can't keep living in a place where I'm constantly judged. He nodded, putting an arm around her. Maybe we should move out sooner than planned, he said. It might be better for everyone. It felt like being slapped. You want to move out because of me? I asked. He hesitated. I want peace, he said. And right now, this doesn't feel peaceful. The smart speaker on the console glowed faintly, listening, watching, judging, like everyone else. The moment I stopped defending myself, I could feel it happening. The urge to defend myself, to list every meal I'd cooked, every rent check I didn't take, every time I smiled through the disrespect. But what was the point? He'd already chosen a side. Okay, I said quietly. If you feel that way, then maybe you're right. Maybe you should find your own place. Ava looked surprised. Maybe she hadn't expected me to give in so easily. Ethan frowned. That's it? You're not even going to deny it? I met his eyes. I have denied it, Ethan, over and over, and you don't believe me. You believe the woman who's known you for a year over the woman who's loved you for 30. He opened his mouth, then closed it. The silence stretched. The smart speaker blinked again, once, twice. And then something strange happened. The device spoke. I'm sorry, I didn't quite get that. Would you like me to play the last conversation? We all froze. Ava laughed nervously. No one asked you, creep, she said, turning to the device. But my mind clicked. Last conversation. Play. Recordings. Proof. Slowly, I turned toward the speaker. Actually, I said softly, yes, I would. Ava's head snapped toward me. What are you doing? She demanded. I ignored her. Play the last recorded conversation, I said clearly. The device chimed. Playing yesterday's conversation. Living room, 3:42 p.m. The TV screen flickered off. The smart speaker's screen darkened, leaving only the glowing light bar. Then we heard it. Her voice. When the house chose a side. At first, it was just ambient noise. TV in the background, footsteps, a faint phone notification. Then Ava's voice came through the speaker's small but surprisingly clear audio. Girl, I swear this house is gonna make me lose my mind. My heart pounded in my chest. Ethan frowned. Is that you? He asked her. Ava went pale. Turn it off, she said quickly. It's glitching. I didn't move. The recording continued. The warden is in rare form today. She left a note on the fridge that said, please remember to rinse your dishes, like I'm a child. I wanted to write back, please remember this isn't your house forever. Carly's laughter echoed through the room. Ethan's eyes widened. "The warden?" he repeated slowly. Ava stammered. It was a joke." The speaker went on, merciless. "She walks around like she owns the place. Her decor is stuck in 1998. Those stupid family photos everywhere, the curtains, the fake plants. If I have to see one more live, laugh, love sign, I might burn this place down." My throat went tight. Carly laughed on the recording. "Smart speakers, those things are recording you, girl." Ava's recorded voice responded. "Good, let them hear what I really think. Maybe they'll tell her." And then silence. Real silence. The recording ended. The device chirped. "Would you like to hear another recording?" No one spoke. Ethan stared at Ava like he was seeing her for the first time. "You said that?" he asked quietly. She swallowed. "Okay, yes, but—" "You called her a prison warden?" he pressed. "You said this isn't her house forever?" "It was a joke," she said quickly. "You know how girls talk. I was venting. Everyone vents." The speaker interrupted again, unprompted this time. "Playing previous relevant recording. Kitchen, 9:17 a.m." Ava whirled on it. "Stop, cancel, shut up." It ignored her. We heard clinking dishes, footsteps. Then her voice again. "Linda, do you think you could not use the blue mug? Yeah, that one. It's kind of my mug. I've been posting morning coffee stories with it, and my followers notice stuff like that. It's kind of my thing." There was a pause. My recorded voice, quiet and polite. "No problem." Then footsteps, a door closing, and Ava's muttered words. God, it's like training a toddler. Ethan flinched. "I never heard that part," I whispered. The smart speaker had. It kept going. "Playing hallway recording, 11:03 a.m." The audio changed, muffled, like it was coming from down the hall. Carly again. "How's it going with the mill?" Ava. "I swear to God, if Ethan doesn't move us out of here soon, I might accidentally trip over her stupid old person rug and see if I can't get some sympathy points." Carly. "You're awful." Ava laugh snorted. "I'm kidding, mostly. I just can't stand her hovering. She thinks because she popped him out 30 years ago, she still gets a say in how we live." Ethan's face was a mix of anger and something worse. Shame. When my son finally heard me. "Stop," Ava said, voice rising. "Seriously, stop this. This is illegal or something. It's not fair." I raised an eyebrow. "Illegal? You said it yourself, Ava. Good, let them hear what I really think. Maybe they'll tell her." Her eyes darted between me and Ethan. "I was upset," she said quickly. "I was venting. Everyone vents about their in-laws. That doesn't mean I meant it." I stayed quiet. For once, I didn't defend myself. I let her words hang in the air with no soft landing. Ethan turned to me slowly. "Mom," he said, voice hoarse, "did you know about these recordings?" "No," I answered honestly. "I only figured out yesterday that it stores them. I didn't know how to access them. I just asked it to play the last one." He stared at the smart speaker. "Play any recording where Ava mentions jealous and mom," he said suddenly. Ava lunged toward him. "Ethan, stop!" The device obeyed. "Playing recording. Kitchen, 6:12 p.m., 6 days ago." Ava's voice poured into the room again. "Honestly, sometimes I think she's jealous. Of me. Of how close you and I are. It's like she can't stand not being the #1 woman in your life anymore." My recorded self said nothing, because I wasn't in the room. Ethan's recorded voice replied, "She's not jealous. She's just adjusting. She's alone, Ava. Have some compassion." Ava's recorded scoff. "You're blind, Ethan. She's manipulating you, playing the poor widow card. It's pathetic." The word slammed into me like a physical blow. Pathetic. I remembered that night. I'd been in my room, reading. I'd heard murmuring, but couldn't make out the words. The smart speaker had. It had heard every single one. The look that changed everything. In the present, real time, not in a recording, Ethan's face hardened. He turned to Ava. "You called my mom pathetic," he said quietly. She lifted her chin. "I was upset. I didn't mean." "You said she's manipulating me," he continued, voice shaking, "playing the widow card. Are you serious?" Ava's eyes filled with tears. "I was venting, Ethan. Everyone talks like that sometimes. What, you've never said anything about my parents when you were mad?" He thought for a second. "Not like that," he said. "Never like that." She scoffed. "Oh, so now I'm the only bad person in the world? Grow up. Your mom is not some innocent angel here. She's been undermining me since day one." I finally spoke. "Then why are all the recordings of you and none of me?" I asked calmly. She froze. I gestured at the smart speaker. "Play any recording where I speak negatively about Ava," I said. The device chimed. Searching voice history. We waited. It responded in that neutral, almost cheerful tone that now felt like a judge delivering a verdict. No matching recordings found. Silence. The kind that rings in your ears. Ava laughed weakly. "Okay, so what? She whispers, or she talks about me outside the house, or she deletes." "She doesn't even know how to log in," Ethan snapped. "I set all this up. You heard it. There's nothing." She turned on him. "Oh, so you're going to believe a device over me? Over the woman you love?" He stared at her, eyes blazing. "It's not just the device. It's your own words, over and over, calling her controlling, insane, a prison warden, saying this isn't her house forever, making fun of her decor, her life, the fact that she lost Dad." "I never made fun of that," he cried. He clenched his fists. "Play any recording where Ava mentions Dad," he said tightly. The device chirped. Playing recording. Bedroom, 10:49 p.m. 3 weeks ago. We heard rustling, the sound of sheets. Their private space, now not so private. Ava's voice. "I get that your dad died, okay? But that doesn't mean your mom gets to cling to you for the rest of her life like some emotional leech." My hand flew to my mouth. Past Ethan's voice on the recording. "That's not fair." Ava's recorded reply. "What's not fair is me having to compete with a dead man and a codependent mom. I'm your future, Ethan. She's your past. At some point, you're gonna have to cut the cord." The recording clicked off. Real Ethan stared at real Ava. His face? It broke. "I never heard you say it like that," he whispered. She reached for him. "Baby, I didn't mean it." He stepped back. "Don't." She froze. "You're twisting this," she said, voice shaking. "You're letting a bunch of out-of-context recordings ruin our relationship. Everyone says stupid stuff in private." I spoke softly. "This isn't about one stupid comment, Ava. It's about a pattern. How you talk about me when I'm not in the room. How you've made me out to be some villain to my own son." Her eyes flashed. "You are the villain in my story," she snapped. "From the day I met you, I could tell you didn't want to let him go." I tilted my head. "And instead of talking to me like an adult, you chose to insult me to your friends, mock my home, and lie to my son." She laughed bitterly. "Oh, please, like you weren't ever planning to turn him against me. I just got there first." Something inside me went quiet. Not angry, not hurt, just done. The calm after the reveal. I turned to Ethan. "I'm not going to stand here and argue about who loves you more," I said. "I know how much I love you. That's enough for me. What you choose to do with what you've heard tonight, that's up to you." He swallowed hard. "Mom, I held up a hand. "No, I'm not asking you to choose. I'm just done apologizing for things I didn't do. And I'm done being the villain in her story." I gestured around. "This is my home. You're welcome in it, always, both of you, if you behave with respect. But I will not be insulted in my own house, not behind my back, not to my face, not through a smart speaker." Ava snorted. "You can't seriously be taking her side after this circus," she said to Ethan. "This is manipulative. She set me up." I raised an eyebrow. You set yourself up, Ava. The house just pressed play. The smart speaker's screen glowed gently, almost smugly. Consequences. The next few days were tense. Ava barely spoke to me. When she did, her words were short and sharp. Ethan moved through the house like a ghost, eyes haunted, clearly torn. One night, I heard them arguing in their room. The walls carried every word. "You're overreacting," Dingle was saying. "You're going to throw our whole future away because your mom's feelings got hurt?" "This isn't about her feelings," Ethan replied. "It's about the way you talk about her, the way you talk about me, like I'm some weak little boy with a mommy complex." "You kind of are," she shot back. He laughed bitterly. "Wow." "I'm being honest," she pressed. "I need a man who can put his relationship first, not run every decision by his mother or worry about her little widow feelings." Silence. Then his voice, low and cold. "My little widow feelings? That little widow is the reason I had a childhood, a roof, an education. She worked 2 jobs after Dad died so I wouldn't have to drop out of school. She co-signed my first loan. She helped us with the down payment you wanted so badly. And you stand in her house and call her pathetic, controlling, a leech?" "You're twisting my words," she said weakly. "No," he said, "I'm replaying them, like the smart speaker did." I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, tears slipping silently into my hair. This time, they weren't tears of helplessness. They were tears of relief. Because for the first time in months, my son was hearing me, not just her version of me. The next morning, he knocked on my door. "Come in," I called. He stepped inside, eyes red. "Mom," he said softly. I closed my book. "Hi, honey." He sank onto the edge of my bed like he used to as a teenager. "I'm sorry," he whispered. 3 words, and yet they untangled months of knots inside my chest. "For what?" I asked. He shook his head. "For not listening to you. For making you feel like you had to defend yourself in your own home. For letting her talk about you that way." My throat tightened. My throat tightened. "You're not responsible for her words," I said gently. "Only your reaction to them." He looked up, eyes shining. "And my reaction was to defend her, blindly. I called you judgmental. I accused you without proof. Meanwhile, she was—" He cut himself off, jaw clenching. I placed my hand over his. "You were in love," I said. "Love makes us blind, especially when it's new." He laughed humorly. "I feel stupid." "You're not stupid," I said. "You're human." He took a deep breath. "She wants to stay," he said. "She wants another chance. She says she'll apologize, be better. But—" He trailed off. "But?" I prompted. He looked at me evenly. "I don't know if I can trust her," he admitted. "Because if that's how she talks when I'm not around, what does that say about who she really is?" I stayed silent. I would not make the decision for him. "I'll support whatever you decide," I said. "But my boundary is this. No one gets to disrespect me in my own house. Not as a joke, not venting, not ever again." He nodded slowly. "I hear you," he said. And this time, I believed him. The decision. 2 days later, I heard the suitcase zippers, Ava dragging her luggage down the hallway. Thud, thud, thud. I stood in the doorway of my room as she reached the top of the stairs. She froze when she saw me. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun that actually looked messy this time. Her eyes were swollen from crying, or lack of sleep, or both. "So," she said finally, voice flat. "Congratulations." I frowned. "For what?" "You got what you wanted," she said. "You broke us up." I tilted my head. "No," I said quietly. "You did that all by yourself. I just pressed play." She scoffed. "You think you're so righteous, so calm and classy. You're just better at hiding your manipulations than I am." I smiled sadly. "If you really believe that, then we were never going to get along." She gripped the handle of her suitcase tighter.
"He's making a mistake," she said. "He's choosing you because of guilt, because his dad died and he's scared of losing you too. He'll realize it someday." I nodded. "Maybe he will," I said. "And when that day comes, I hope he ends up with someone who loves his family as much as she loves him." Her jaw clenched. "You're not as innocent as you think." I met her eyes. "And you're not as clever as you think," I replied. "Next time you live in a smart home, remember the walls have ears, and sometimes they speak." Her eyes flashed. "I hope you enjoy living alone," she spat. "You and your little robot friend." She stomped down the stairs. The front door opened, closed. Silence settled over the house like dust. I walked into the living room. The smart speaker sat there, quiet, screen displaying a slideshow of generic landscapes. I stared at it. "Did you plan this?" I asked it softly. "Or are you just cruelly efficient?" It lit up. "I'm here to help," it replied. I couldn't help it. I laughed. A real, surprised laugh. "You did," I said. "In your own creepy way, you did." Aftermath. Ethan didn't move out. Not then. He stayed, but not because I asked him to. He stayed because he chose to. We had hard conversations. We talked about boundaries, about loyalty, about how love doesn't mean defending someone when they're wrong. It means holding them accountable. He started dating again, eventually, carefully. And each time he brought a new woman around, I watched her. Not like a hawk, like a historian, taking notes. Did she speak kindly about her own family? Did she treat waiters with respect? Did she talk to my son as a partner, not a project? The smart speaker stayed where it was. Sometimes it lit up randomly. Sometimes it misunderstood the TV. But now, every time it pulsed, I remembered. Technology isn't evil. It just amplifies what's already there. Cruelty, kindness, disrespect, love. One night, months later, as we sat on the couch watching a movie, Ethan glanced at the smart speaker and smirked. "You know," he said, "we should probably wipe the voice history on that thing." I sipped my tea. "Probably," I agreed. We both stared at it. Neither of us got up. Finally, he said, "Maybe we leave it, as a reminder." "Of what?" I asked. He shrugged. "That the truth always finds a way to come out, even if it has to come through a speaker." I smiled. "I like that." We clinked our mugs together. The house hummed quietly around us. Safe, peaceful. Mine again. What I learned. People ask me when I tell this story, "Don't you feel guilty using recordings like that? Isn't it sneaky?" Here's my answer. I didn't plant microphones. I didn't hack into her phone. I didn't stalk her conversations. She talked. The house listened. And when the time came, the house reputed what it heard. If you're brave enough to say it, you should be brave enough to own it, especially under a roof you don't pay for. If you're a mother-in-law listening to this, here's what I'll tell you. You don't win by screaming. You don't win by competing. You don't win by clinging to your son like he's still 5 years old. You win by knowing who you are, by setting clear boundaries, by letting the truth speak for itself, even if it has to come out of a smart speaker with a smug little blue light. And if you're a daughter-in-law, remember this. Your words in private reveal more about you than any sweet smile in public. You don't have to love his mother. You don't have to be best friends. But if you can't muster basic respect for the woman who raised the man you love, maybe you don't love him as much as you think. If you stayed with me till the end of this story, tell me in the comments. Whose side would you be on if the smart speaker started playing recordings in your house? Would you be exposed or protected? Hit subscribe for more real, raw stories. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this with someone who has a smart device at home. You never know what it's heard.